by Satirical World. Don't threaten ME with your missile, Putin. Exclusive. The unreported actual conversation between the ex-UK Prime Minister and Putin. Brought to you by the head of the undercover investigative journalist team, TW. On the 30th of January this year, the BBC reported the extraordinary phone call between the then Prime Minister and Russia's Putin on the run-up to the invasion of Ukraine. The BBC report was based on the official press release by 10 Downing Street. However, the actual conversation between the two turned out to be not quite the full story. Thanks to our tireless investigative team, we bring you the unedited narrative of an exclusive interview a few days after the invasion of Ukraine. For legal reasons, we were unable to report the interview until now. We at SW thank TW for persuading the then Prime Minister, who is now the ex-Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, known in inner government circles as Morris Prankster, to come clean regarding the missile phone call. If you remember, Morris was unceremoniously sacked for contravening the Official Secrets Act. He was replaced by Dizzy Miss Lizzie, sick, who was herself sacked for her alleged incompetence when she destroyed the economy with her foolhardy economic policies that did serious damage not only to our pockets, but also our credibility. Dizzy, sick, was replaced by Richie Rich, sick. How long Richie, sick, will remain in office after his handling of the tax affairs of Bad Nads RX, sick, the former chairman of the Conservative Party, is anyone's guess. Watch this space. For now we can exclusively report on more serious matters, as Putin continues to flex his evil muscles beyond Ukraine. The following narrative is taken from a recording of an exclusive interview between SW's TW and the then Prime Minister, who we shall refer to as MP. Now for the exclusive report narrated by yours truly VM, an AI employee of Voicemaker in participation with Satirical World. Before I start, this report is the word-for-word narrative of the exclusive interview between Satirical World's undercover investigative journalist TW and the once Prime Minister Mr. Boris Johnson, nicknamed Morris Prankster, or MP. For the purpose of this narrative, sit back and be astounded by the disclosures in this exclusive interview, held just after the invasion of Ukraine, by Rasputin Dick Potato of Russia. TW. Prime Minister, you recently reported of a conversation you'd had with the Dick Potato, Rasputin, in which you were reported to have said he'd threatened to kill you with a missile. Was that a real threat on your life? Was he serious? MP. Well, TW. Or may I call you Mr. T? TW. No problem. May I call you Prankster? MP. Of course. But my friends call me Morris. Let's keep it light. There's enough darkness in this world as it is. TW. So Morris, was it a real threat? MP. Oh yes, a serious threat. I was taken aback, to be honest. Quite extraordinary. I mean, old as his friend Donald Trump is alleged to have nicknamed him, was not joking. TW. You mean he wasn't having a laugh? Pulling your clonk. Word censored. Taking the P out of you. Word censored. MP. I tell no lies, Mr. T. He was deadly serious. Deadlier than a dodo. TW. I think the expression is as dead as a dodo. MP. Same thing really. Do our diddy dum. He wanted me dead so as not to spoil his grand redesign of the former USSR. TW. I see your point. MP. Well, after a bit of banter, I managed to defuse the threat by reminding him of our deterrent. TW. Nuke deterrent? MP. Goodness gracious, no, Mr. T. Certainly not. Something much more lethal than a Trident 2D5 UGM-133A with its sophisticated heavy payload accurate enough to be either a first strike, counter-strike or second strike weapon, launched from our Ohio-class Vanguard SSBNs, capable of becoming the greatest catastrophic event since the extinction of the dinosaurs. TW. They are not all extinct. MP. I know, there's still a few swigging whiskey in the 1922 committee. No, I simply said to Rasputin, any threat to number 10, to me or the United Kingdom, including, I must add, Scotland and the Scilly Isles. Any threat would be swiftly and accurately responded to by a payload of SL-4 projectiles spontaneous launched by our MCS-NYSESs, which have a combined mega force of, censored, well, let's just say a very powerful weapons system. TW. A deadly response. MP. I'm afraid so, Mr. T. Absolutely deadly and devastating. TW. ADD. MP. ADD and MTW. MP. Messy. Very messy. TW. So in actual fact, what you are saying is that the United Kingdom has a double DM deterrent and strike force capability. MP. Yes, Mr. T. A double DVM deadly, devastating and very, very messy. A deadly mess, I must add. TW. I see now. But to make it crystal clear, Prime Minister, we're actually talking about is a new defense first or second response system that is deadlier than our current nuclear deterrent, which for the non-technical listeners currently exceeds our banks of Trident nuclear warheads, each having the standard explosive power equivalent to 100,000 tons, 100 kilotons or 100 kt of TNT, which if released would be even a deadlier mess than our current nuclear payload MP. That about sums it up. A double DVM DDVVM DM TNT DM, an extremely accurate and precise laser-sharp pinpoint targeting system, designed to obliterate those that threaten the UK, rendering them with such ferocity that the event would disable them from any current or future participation in world events. TW, including the Eurovision Song Contest. PM, yes, I'm afraid so, and the World Cup, and Olympics. TW, and what about the former Eastern Bloc? PM, yes, the Baltic states, Poland and the former Iron Curtain countries, which Rah has his evil ambitions of returning them to Russian sovereignty. Well, we are not having any of that colonial empire building going on in my backyard. TW, at the number 10 backyard. PM, correct. It would mean obliteration. TW, obliteration. MP, absolute and total obliteration. Yes. We would not hesitate to launch Operation CP should Rasputin make any attempt to launch a preemptive strike. TW. Operation CP. Is that the code name to launch the attack? MP. Damn it, I've just given away the code name. Yes. Operation CP would be launched without hesitation should Rasputin try to launch his missiles. We would quickly respond by launching a full-blooded defensive and attacking operation immediately. TW. Immediately. PM. Yes, immediately, as soon as we can muster enough support in Parliament. TW, I sense there is a problem with your strategy. PM, no problem that I cannot handle. I have a plan. TW, and that is? PM, we would have to nationalize a few organizations. TW, but that would go against all party principles. PM, not if we were defending our sovereignty against Rasputin. TW, sources tell us that you are prepared to launch a preemptive strike. And the system you have described as more deadlier than our nuclear weaponry is actual Acibus Punna. PM. Damn it, I didn't know you could speak Latin. Yes, Operation CP is based on an old but thoroughly tried and tested SL-46DB system. In fact, it has been tested on numerous occasions with our Italian friends and Spanish allies. Damn, I hope Rah isn't listening in. TW, are you prepared, Prime Minister? PM, absolutely. Besides the 260 billion British pounds sterling already spent or allocated to our nuclear deterrent strategy, and our upgraded replacement that I have been sharing with you, which I might add is even more cost-effective than any previously developed systems. We have an extremely cost-effective training program first developed in 1958 by Peter George, aptly codenamed Red Alert. Yes, our capability more than matches the US, China, North Korea, Iran, and all the other countries that only have a nuclear capability. TW, what about the environmental impacts of the new system that stands at the moment side by side the nuclear deterrent? PM, I'm glad you asked that question. It will of course take time to decommission the nuclear system, but I am extremely proud to share with you today the new Defense First Second Strike attack system capability will eventually be 100% environmentally friendly. It will be greener than the green grass of home. TW, but you forgot to mention the Welsh when you outlined earlier the defense of the UK. PM, well, of course they will be defended, so long as they remain part of the United Kingdom. TW, so Scotland will be defended. PM, well, of course, because they've presently got our subs in their waters. TW, Northern Ireland. PM, absolutely. TW, so back to your plan. What other strategies do you have to share with our followers in the UK, Europe and all continents on Earth? PM, you mean this interview is being shared around the world? TW, of course, Prime Minister. Our followers stretch globally and beyond. PM, damn, I presumed it would only be shared within the UK. Oh well, in for a penny. TW, I'm not sure whether everyone will understand the meaning of that phrase. PM, I shall reveal all. seeing as you're paying me lots of pennies. Anyway, to assure us victory, we would nationalize all the food banks and supermarkets in order to obliterate Rasputin. Our rapid response system would be fully armed arsenal of dairy-heavy whipping cream, thick stew with salt pork, bacon, vegetables, onions, potatoes with additional seasonings, Yorkshire puddings, chili, shellfish, smoked sausage, tomatoes and fish, chili corn chowder with corn fritters, followed by a silo of trifle, and sticky toffee pudding. And to ensure old Rah gets a clear message that we mean business, we've secured support from good old Jamie Oliver with a healthy portion of apples, oranges and pears. Plus, because of our special relationship with the guys and dolls of the US of A, they will be throwing in plenty of McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yes, your sources are absolutely spot on. A Sivas punner. A Sivas punner. A full-blooded Etonian mess food fight. TW. Thank goodness the UK has such a deadly deterrent. Thank you for sharing that with us, Morris. MP. You're welcome. It's been pleasure, Mr. T. TW. And now over to Carol for the weather forecast. C. The outlook for the future is a cold wind of change blowing from Siberia and the Far East, with a chilly force 9 storm heading from the west towards the east. As the two fronts eventually meet, I'm afraid we're heading for large-scale firestorms and a nuclear winter with prolonged cooling off, reminiscent of my favorite movie of all time starring Peter Sellers as Dr. Strangelove. TW. Anyone who has found this article disturbing should immediately pre-book a ticket to destination Satirical World. Flight tickets, and the book to read on your way to a new and sane world will be available sometime this year, definitely before winter sets in. Available online at Amazon Books. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved. Indulis Elsevicus. Human rights preserved. Images by Pixabay. Video music by Mixkit. Production by Satirical World. Copyright 2023, Indulis Elsevicus. An exclusive. More to come your way, so please follow, subscribe or like, and if not, that's okay too. Stay safe and keep in touch.